Hello, welcome to Mental Health. All right,
Yo,
I've got a guest from Texas here with us. Do you want me to say your name? Because I know you don't want your face shown. So,
oh, that's fine. You just say my name.
all right, well, because I'm also it's also the name of your YouTube channel, which is how I found you. All right.
Yeah.
Um, I'm probably gonna say this wrong because I say everyone's name's wrong. Myra Elvira.
Myra Elvira,
Oh, Myra. Yeah, yeah.
it's fine.
Vowels, they get me every time. All right. The reason why I'm having you on Mental Health is because I watched your video on the vocalist Dead, who was in Mayhem, and I absolutely loved it. I loved how you didn't like throw any emotion into it. It was just basically what the facts from what your standpoint and what you've researched, and then kind of like throwing your own diagnosis to them at the end there. I don't know if you have credentials or not as far as that goes, but we're here. Let's talk.
Well, to talk about credentials, I will point out, in case anybody watches this from, I guess, my side later, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not a licensed psychologist, though, to tell you the truth. It is a plan for myself in the future. Actually, surprisingly, in the state of Texas, you can practice with a master's. But at this point, I only have a bachelor's in criminal justice with a minor in psychology.
That's more than what I have. Oh wow! Oh, that's great. I've got a good friend who has a degree in psychology from Queens. Queens up here in Canada is like it's like one of those far city like universities and stuff like that or whatever. But yeah, so he's been able to help me through a lot because he's got that inside scoop and we're good friends. But yeah, anyways, well, back to some metal and stuff. You were just telling me that you saw Deicide a couple of years, 6 years ago. So yeah, it's like not only are you doing the videos, there's a few on. I saw a few metal videos. Like there was a small one on James Hetfield and was Lita Ford and stuff like that. Yeah, I really like what you're doing, and then that's why I wanted to start up this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you.
So why did you want to do a video on Dead in the first place?
Well, to tell you the truth, I kind of thought like, basic terms of, sorry, my YouTube channel, there's actually a lot of people that watch the videos I make, which is, you know, I just like to sum it up as essentially, what do you call it? Like true crime, but, think about it like this, there's people who are not like us that like true crime. There's people that don't know anything about metal, and it kind of goes in the same thing with like the James Hetfield video about his family, where if you don't know anything about Metallica or Mayhem, you wouldn't have known that, Dead shot himself. And, that
Yeah,
picture, was
yeah,
used for the bootleg album cover. If you don't know about metal, you wouldn't have known, about James Hetfield's parents essentially letting their religion kill them. So
yeah.
really my idea was like, hey, there's probably people that don't know about this. So that was really the base reason for why I decided to do it.
Yeah, like as far as the James Hetfield thing goes, like I did not know anything about that with James Hetfield because like I already picked my side. I know you're not supposed to pick sides, but I think it's obvious which side I've picked, and all my viewers know.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that, honestly, because truthfully, like I got into metal when I was 13, and first song, of course, I ever heard was by Metallica. It was One, and but like how like growing up, people were like, oh, Metallica versus Megadeath, and for some reason, despite being born like years after that feud, people would still try to bring it up today. So my point is like I got into Metallica first and I listened to the shit out of them. But honestly, I am like a Megadeth person. Like I do prefer Megadeth.
Yeah. Yeah, like Metallica for me just brings me back to my childhood and stuff when I didn't know any better, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
Pretty much.
you didn't see any of this stuff on Much Music or MTV, right? So I didn't have the options. I had to do that
Right.
research myself later on, and
Right.
who knows where I would have been at that time if I did. have
Mm-hmm.
that in my grasps. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, like another reason why I love Dave and Megadeath is just the whole addict aspect, and
Mm-hmm.
because I am a recovering meth head, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like there's a big part of me that's like just rooting for him all the time, just because I see a little bit of myself in that, and so there's that aspect of it too, right? So.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I don't want to be like talk about myself too much on here because I do that all the time, and I don't really want to just like get you to. I'm not going to tell my story to you right now so that you can dissect my brain with the psychology part, right? No one really wants that. It just kind of happens.
Hey, I don't mind. I'm just here, you know.
Yeah, right. Well, basically, okay. So I lied and I just went into it that way. Well, okay. Um, with me, my schizophrenia, it's like false memories, delusions.
Mm-hmm.
When I went through psychosis, it's like I rubbed against a parallel universe and downloaded memories from that, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Mm-hmm.
weird, and yeah, it's yeah. Basically, the core of my delusion was that I stabbed a gang member, and then the gang wanted me to do things like I had to prove myself to not get murdered or have a family member murdered too. And so my brain was just telling me things like that, and then like because this happened about it'll be 9 years ago this year, and like not knowing that I have schizophrenia, I'd act upon these memories like they happened when they didn't. So yeah, so I ended up getting put in a psych ward for a week. They gave me meds that take a month to kick in, which that math doesn't work out for me. And so then I ended up jumping in front of a truck, and then they put me into a psych ward for a month, and then I got on some heavy meds,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so there's that aspect. All right. um so why did you if with your channel, why did you want to make it so it's like for me it looks like it's not too biased or anything, it's just giving you facts and stuff in a very like not like monotone but like very calm voice, so it's not like you're picking sides or giving any bias like that, right?
Yeah, the I've been joking with people that I know in real life that watch the videos. I'm like, what is it? Um, it's like pseudo ASMR. You know what I'm talking about? Um, but the reason why I decided to go the, I guess you could say Wikipedia route, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're like neutral too.
Yeah.
Truthfully, sorry, it comes down to honestly, my personality. It's how I am as a person in general. Because hold up.
You're back. You're
Sorry.
back.
Yeah, that's the DSLR. But anyway, that's how I am as a person because truthfully, I grew up with certain family members that would um, pick on me, and they would run to the head of the household and not tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And to put it, diplomatically, you know what I mean? And so it kind of stemmed from childhood. And then from there, you know, reading about true crime because, I have, of course, the interest in it myself. I'm not going to call out anybody, but here's something I really can't stand where if you watch a video by some people on YouTube, sorry, I got to stretch. There's people on YouTube that don't get the facts right. And that honestly like kind of pisses me off, because I just can't stand in general like hearing a story, whether it's gossip in real life or, a YouTube video that's supposed to be informational and they don't get it right, And like I just finally uploaded the little Q&A video I had yesterday or whatever, but I kind of said the same thing because there was a video. I'll never forget this in particular because I'm like really deep into reading about Charles Manson and that shit. And there was somebody they made like a 4-video series on it. And they didn't even use the right picture for one of the members. And it wasn't like, oh, it's just whatever, this random member you never hear about. No, it was about like Charles Manson's like third baby mama. They didn't even use the right picture. And I was just like, really? Like, you can't even get that right. So it just kind of stems from that. I've just always been about the truth. Let's just get the facts. That's it. That's all I care about. Let's get the facts.
Yeah, that's what I really appreciate about your videos and your channel. But that pisses me off too. Like if you're gonna do something, at least try to do it right. And like if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna put no effort into it at all, you're just trying to
Mm-hmm.
get views for the sake of it and not having anything genuine behind it. Like I don't see the point in that. Yeah. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about some concerts you've been to? Because yeah, we gotta keep it somewhat metal here.
Oh yeah, of
Metal.
course. You know, um, truthfully, like growing up, I never went to shows. I mean, think how many people probably grew up in a religious household that are metalheads. Um, and of
That's
course
probably why
I
they're metalheads.
I know, right?
They go this route too, right?
Yeah, seriously, and I mean, I didn't grow up like going to church, but excuse me, sorry. Um, but like my mother, once I started listening to metal, she started pulling out the religion. Oh my God, it's satanic. And I'm just like, you never took us to church before, you know? And I'm so growing up, we didn't do any of that. And so it wasn't until I was 21, I finally went to my first show and I actually saw Down. I don't know if
Oh
you know
yeah.
about.
Yeah, Phil Anselmo, Rex Brown, Pepper Keenan, and I
Mhm.
forget the drummer's name. Um,
It's always different.
yeah, right. I went to I saw them, I think it was like 2008 when they were just by themselves. It was like an evening with Down. That was really
Mhm.
cool because they just played music videos of old music videos like Sabbath and stuff like that, and then they came out
Mhm.
themselves and did a killer set. I think that was around the Over the Under. Yeah, when that
Mhm.
third album came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I that was going to shows, I as an adult I realized, hey, there is actually uh there's actually a lot of bands that are way better live than in their studio.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, 100%. And especially like you might hear a band just by their music without seeing them live, and yeah, you think nothing of it. But like seeing those opening bands, that's important because like it brings you back to the memory of being there when you see them live, and it really gives them a chance to get more fans. There's
Mhm.
lots of bands that I've never heard of, then I'd see them as an opening band, and I'd be
Mhm.
hooked. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think like before COVID hit, like what was even the last show I went to? It's like feels so long ago now.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you some time to think, and I'll tell mine. All right.
Mhm.
It was October 2019, and it was a Monomarth headlining, Arch Enemy at the Gates, and Grand Margus or Magus, something like that, was the
Yeah.
opening band. So yeah, I was so excited to see At the Gates. That was amazing. I mean, obviously, I wish I could have seen him back in the day before he blew out his voice, but still, it was amazing. And I've seen Enemy a few times, but that was the maybe just twice with that one. But either way, that was the first time seeing with the Canadian vocalist. I forget her name. I always forget her name. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I can't even remember the exact last show I saw before COVID, but I remember like a couple of years before I saw Gorguts. That was a band I loved so much as a
Canadian
teen.
as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they are, I'm pretty sure from Quebec.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Um, because I remember something somewhere along the lines like, oh, Luc Lemay, the singer knows French. Whoa, and I saw them probably about 2017, and then uh, man, I just can't remember. COVID 2020 ruined everything, so it's like that year seems longer than it really was.
Yeah, I agree. Because of that year, that's why I had to start this because I couldn't just do comedy anymore, and I had to find my
Mhm.
outlet. Because basically, I've said this before on here. March 30th, 2020, I had a large slip with being clean, and I just been laid off from my job, and I was just sitting around, and with lack of purpose, addicts don't do well, especially when we're in recovery, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it happens, and I mean, the fact that you can acknowledge that that's even a part of your life, I think, is quite strong, truthfully, because I was raised, um, I was raised for some reason with my mother thinking that it was an embarrassment if somebody had done that. And, growing up, you realize there's actually a lot of people that have their own problems and you can't judge them for that, you know?
Yeah, I've always been very open with my mental health, with my comedy and everything like that. Because for the amount of times that someone will come up to you after the show and be like, "Hey, I've got this," and like it was really
Mm-hmm.
cool to see someone talking about it so openly. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's basically why you do it, and
Mm-hmm.
not very often, but sometimes you do get the people like getting offended on other people's behalf. And like, hey, you can't talk like that. It's like, actually, yes, I can, because 95% of what I just said up there is true, and I've been through that, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But
One time, someone came up to me after a show and said, you could just tell by the look in their eye, they just said something along the lines of, "Oh, I had a friend that had schizophrenia," and then I just cut them off, and I was like, just we hugged it out. That was back when hugs were allowed, right? Because just by the past tense, I knew it wasn't a good situation that he really wanted to
Mhm.
talk about. But yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I see the benefit in helping, and like even then, like after I was diagnosed, um, I remember I jumped in front of a truck, and going through psychosis on its own was like getting a concussion. Plus the actual jumping from a truck. When I got out of the psych ward, plus with all the meds they had me on, it was basically like I had 10% cognitive abilities. Like
Wow.
I could barely I could function, but it was a
Mhm.
lot slower than I'd ever
Mhm.
been before. And I was fat growing up, and when I was like 18, 19, I went to the gym and ate right, and lost all that weight. And then the meds they gave me made me gain 75 pounds in 3 months, like all that work never happened. So
Mhm.
yeah, I really started to self-medicate myself
Mhm.
with stimulants because, like, one, I was tired all the time and I can't actually do anything when I'm that tired, and
Mhm.
two, lose weight, and three, I still kind of wanted to kill myself, so it was just a slow way of doing that. And
Mhm.
yeah, so then before I knew it, I was full-blown addict, and I was pretty much an addict beforehand though, and like most of us who are addicts are basically addicts from birth. But yeah, because I was smoking pot pretty much every day, and then I slowly brought in the hard stuff, and then like after I was diagnosed and everything, that's when I just dove right into the hard stuff too, because to
Mhm.
self medicate and everything like that with the side effects. But I'm doing really well now, being clean and knowing, like, with my schizophrenia now, it's like I'm paranoid a lot, and I'm also in a pretty much perpetual state of deja vu sometimes. Well, that doesn't perpetual wouldn't be sometimes, but yeah, I get a lot of deja vus for just silly little things, and
Mhm.
it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's manageable now. So like, I haven't even been taking my actual meds in like almost a year, like but it's I feel so much better right now, and I'm in such a better place that I'd say it's very worth it. Because like in the
Mhm.
last year, I've learned how to interview people and talk like this. Like if you go back and watch the first 10 interviews or so, there's a million ums. I had to write everything down and basically read it. And for you, I wrote mental health, your name, the video on death from Mayhem. That's all I've got here. Yeah. All right. So the interviews have gotten better, I'd say. But yeah, there should be a question in here for you somewhere. Yeah.
No, I mean, I appreciate it. And that's really, interesting. And I mean, honestly, it's I guess maybe not even surprisingly, but studying psychology in school, of course, one of the things they always want to go over is, of course, schizophrenia, and it's always such a
A broad brush.
complicated,
It's
huh?
also a broad brush because everyone's
It is,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's complicated, because there's people who, at least in textbooks, they'll be like, oh, no, don't, um, don't assume that it's genetic. And then other textbooks will say it's genetic, it's genetic. And, you just kind of don't know. It's still like up in the air, And what was it? I mean, because I've been, oh God, a long time Reddit user. And like, I don't even post, I just read all the time. But there's this pretty popular, famous post on Reddit. It's probably like 10 years old now, where some girl had schizophrenia. And whether it was true or not, because honestly, I doubt most things on the internet now.
I doubt most things anywhere are true, right? Like
Yeah.
TV, internet, any information I'm getting, I just take with a giant grain of salt, not meth, but salt.
Right. And this girl said that, she, with her schizophrenia, she would see things in the corner of her eyes, like disturbing shit, like one thing she ended up drawing that became super popular was this, like, this dog where the body was skinned and the head was basically a skull. And I still think about that. It's like, that's disturbing, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's different even still for everybody. Not every case of schizophrenia is even the same.
That's true. I did an interview with Nim, who's in the band. Let's see if I can say this. Shai Legnagnar or something like that. He's out of the Netherlands, and he has schizoaffective disorder. So he's got the schizo part, and the affective disorder is like bipolar, kind of, because it goes in cycles. Like he'll be 2 to 3 months of just pure hardcore depression, and where he can't do anything, and then he'll have like 2 weeks of being manic, where he gets all the writing and like does things. Gets things done, and like also on top of that, like we were talking about how when he first found out he was mentally ill like that, he was talking to the Grim Reaper, like he was sitting right next to him, and then he'd snap out of it, and then before he knew it, he would be right back in there talking like with the Grim Reaper. So very strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, excuse me. Sorry, I had to take a drink of Coke. Thirsty.
It's okay. We need liquids and food to live.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, is there anything, you want to talk about, like, I don't know, the channel, or you're curious about, or I mean, even anything that you might want to see me do? I don't know if you actually want to watch my videos. I don't care.
I watch a few, like I didn't find it that long ago, right? So I haven't right in. Like I find that the ones I do watch, is like I'm always wanting more.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's that. But also I'm thinking about doing another segment on mental health, where I do a video on dead metalheads, because there's so many, right? And that we die so young most of the time. So I think that would be cool, because I remember when Dimebag died, it happened right around the same time as my aunt dying, and I felt so much worse for Dimebag than I did my aunt.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's weird. I knew my aunt. I didn't know Dimebag.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and I mean, that's just how, I guess, life goes, as weird as it is. Sometimes we end up having people that we feel closer to, even if we never actually met them in person. But I think it comes down to, what they actually meant to us, because I feel the same way. Like, I love Typo Negative, and I cried so hard when I found out that Peter Steele died. I really did. I think that would be an interesting segment, to tell you the truth, because I'm like, what, you got Peter Steele and Dimebag and of course Cliff Burton, and hey, now you got Jeff Hanneman, so that's some of them.
Yeah, there's so many, like Dio. I got to see a Dio before he died with Heaven and Hell. And that list goes on. So I'd have a lot of segments I could do. So it's all about just getting down to it and getting it done. Yeah, I'm seriously going to think about doing that. Maybe we could collab on those videos.
Pretty interesting. I can tell you, I definitely have a ton of research. I always find a bunch of shit, truthfully.
All right. Well, how about we finish this up, and you can give it a shout out to your channel or anything else you'd like right now. We'll give you that opportunity, and then we'll wrap things up.
Alrighty. Well, if you don't watch my stuff, you could just look me up at Myra Elvira, or better yet, some of the more popular videos, which tend to be about Charles Manson, the family. Or for some reason, a video I don't understand that's popular is one about Jim Gordon, where if I don't know, that video, oh my God, that video has so many comments. I had to disable them because I just kept getting people shitting on me. Oh, you said mad dogs and fishermen wrong. Da 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 da. Where I'm up at 3 or 4 a.m. And if I say mad dogs and fisherman or whatever, who gives a fuck? Okay, the dude killed his mom. But anyway,
you're worried about that. Oh wow, that's funny. Oh.
So anyway, the point is just that you want to watch the stuff I do. I'm about true crime, psychology, and anything else that I feel fits. I try not to be bad all the time. If you're familiar with the channel Horror Stories, and in some ways, probably even Justin Wang. Sometimes I feel like I'm a mixture of both. So there you go.
All right. Thank you. Maybe if I do have a request, I'll say Ollie from All That Remains, because there's the rumor that he was murdered by his wife so that she'd get everything in the will rather than the suicide. But I'll just throw that out there. It's a rumor. I don't know anything. If you want to look into that,
oh yeah, I will.
Yeah, that would be a really cool interview because I really like All That Remains, and especially Overcome and Follow Ideals. Yeah, but yeah, thank you very much for being on Mental Health.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is the perfect analogy for mental health. All right, boom, I fall, and then like the jogger comes up. Oh, that happened right in front of me. Do I have to care? Looks around. Do I have to care? Oh, there's no one around. Okay, I'll just keep going.